Alrighty, welcome back, my good friend. And today we decided to do something very interesting. I'm gonna ask my son 5 questions. Guy, what is discipline for you? What does that mean for you?
I guess discipline means for me, it means to not to torture yourself or to harm yourself in any way, or eating like salad every day even though you want pizza. Discipline for me is to control yourself on what you do and make the right choice and to basically control yourself in everything you do. For example, if you do art, then you discipline yourself to do art for 10 or 20 or an hour a minute. And sometimes people, I'm not saying the people are, I'm saying sometimes people are not always disciplined. So instead of doing their work or instead of actually doing what they're supposed to be, like homework, or in my case, I don't really like doing homework. So the discipline is important for me and for people is because not that, but I guess it means to be disciplined and not to go crazy or wild. So to do what you're supposed to do and do it correct.
So, from my understanding of your answer, you said discipline is important because that we need to do what we need to do to have self-control over our body and mind. If we know we have to accomplish something, then we put in the time and effort to wholeheartedly accomplish that and not wasting our time on unnecessary things. And you also say that the danger of not discipline is by not accomplish thing and go wild and not that solidness inside. So you say discipline is to when you set out to do something, you practice on learn how to accomplish that, how to build that up day by day. And so that is good. Very profound statement. Now it is your turn to ask Daddy what's the question you have.
Yay. Wow, this chocolate is very strange. Now, I'm going to ask you, why is self-review important?
Sky asked, why is self-review important? I think, first of all, self-review is very important because self-review is to look at oneself. What is our deficiency? What is our negative habit? And then we are working on to improving that. Self-review is to look at oneself and work on trying to improve, because we are a human being living on this earth. We don't want to born and die like grass. We are capable of improving, not only improving, but be a exemplifying person. So if we have hot temper, negative habit, or a lot of fault, nobody wants to learn from us. So self-review is to look back at oneself and learn how to improve, work on those negative things, fixing to be a better person. So that's very important. Do you have any comment?
Turtle.
Okay, so Sky does not have any comment. So because I'm just warming him up with one question, now I'm going very deep and trying to attack him way from behind.
Squirrel.
And the second question I have for Sky is, what is the ultimate way of learning? Because the reason I ask, because kids, they learn very fast, and you are 9 years old. So I want to learn from your learning experience. What is your ultimate way of learning?
Like for me,
How do you learn things really fast? Like the reason I asked that question is when I saw you, you were born until now, you have no experience on video editing. But when I saw you edit very complex stuff, I said that must come from some kind of learning technique. So how did you learn video editing so fast?
I guess, I guess the way I learn is not really different from how you're supposed to learn or how most people learn, but how I learn to do stuff, and mostly anything that I can do. I guess I wholeheartedly do it. And as like your other question, discipline is something that you need to learn if you want to learn super quick. For example, learning a language. You don't expect to learn a language in 2 minutes or in 1 day or in 1 night. You can't learn it in 2 days or 3 days. The reason that is very true because mostly we can't install it inside of our brains in that quickly. And the discipline can help speed up that process by wholeheartedly knowing and installing it much quicker with the discipline.
So let me interrupt you. You said your ultimate way of learning is that you discipline yourself when you are learning. You set yourself up to learn and wholeheartedly learn without distraction, without you just present there to learn, and you discipline yourself to learn. Is that right?
No.
Or how did you learn?
Well, the discipline part I said is just for how to learn, but how I learn is just doing it. You can't expect to learn how to do something like build a car or something by just reading how to do it. You have to do it.
So you said your learning is that you actually put in the effort and doing it and not just talking about it or you actually put in the effort and time to learn. There's no other way. Is that what you mean? There's no other way of learning except by just do it.
There are other ways, but other ways are just like, for example, learning. For example, like you have to go to work every day. You can't sit down with no distractions and discipline because we're living, and you need to get a job. So the other way to learn is by doing a little bit each day, like your artwork. You can't do all this artwork in 3 days or 2 minutes. You have to put in a little bit effort along the way, and it will eventually add up.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, very, very deep and profound. It is your turn to ask the question.
Yay! How can you apply your self-review?
Self-review, like today, me and Sky just make a video on how to sort out the clothing. I am a very messy person, very unproductive, and I also very lazy. So self-review is first recognize those things, and then your question is how do I self-review, right? So how to put in the action to fix the self, because once you review, you recognize it. Now the main component of that is the application. 10% recognition, 90% doing to overcome. So to make the self-review effective is the action that we put into to fix it, to work on it. And so like today, me and my son, we spend a good amount of time sort out all of the clothing. Later on today, we're going to sweep the floor, vacuum the floor, and mop the floor, and clean the toilet. These kind of thing is we use the daily routine to learn how to discipline our body and mind, learn how to improve, learn how to work on our negative habit like messiness, unproductive, laziness by doing, just like Sky said earlier, little bit each day to overcome oneself. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Do you have any comment?
I guess, I like the part when you said about discipline and to discipline yourself, but, how do I put this the audience can understand?
You want to think about it a little bit while I ask you this question?
Yes.
Sorry, audience. The reason I stopped him because we can drag this on for days. So we need to speed things up. We only have a few more minutes left. The third question I have for you is, let's say someone share with you that you have a negative habit, like you throw your shoes and your clothing around when you come home from school. You, instead of put them neatly on the shelf or on the closet, you just swing them on the floor and throw them across the room, and you jump in bed. Because I have heard people say this for you. So, what are you? How are you going to deal with that when people point out your negative habit?
I guess, So I guess if someone told me my negative habit, or if I'm doing something wrong, or basically anything, because I never can do anything perfect, and or maybe sometimes, but not all the time. So for the times that I cannot do something correct, or if I don't do them at all, then when people point them out, is that how to solve it?
When people point out your mistake, what do you do?
I guess we just have to, or I have to, I guess I just have to deal with the problem instead of waiting forever and ever until someone can help you, or maybe someone isn't going to help you at all. Because
So you don't, when someone point out your mistake, you don't take a broom and chase them and whip them down?
No, definitely not. You do the opposite. You try not to yell at yourself or say mean things to yourself and try to hate yourself, because most of the time some people do that, and for some reason it's not really helping them. So I guess we just have to deal with the problem, and instead of yelling at them or punching or stuff to them.
So how you deal with the problem when they say you throw the shoes around the room, you throw your jacket on the floor? So how do you deal with that?
I guess you can deal with that problem by doing it every day, because, well, as if again we can't fix your problems in one day or one night or in 2 days. You have to do it every day when you get the chance.
Indeed, what you're saying is that you recognize, when people help you recognize your issues, then because that issue has been built up for a long time, you don't expect to fix it immediately. Of course, at that moment you have to fix it. They say you throw the shoes and your clothing all over the place, then at that moment you fix it to soften up the atmosphere, to harmonize the atmosphere. But you also say that day by day you work on to fix that, right? To recognize it and fix it, because you don't expect to immediately to be an enlightened saint. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Go ahead with your question.
Why do you, So, why do you need to self-review?
Why do we need to self-review? That's a very interesting question, because 9 years ago, I don't even believe in self-review. I don't even know what self-review is. But after I cultivate the path of virtue, self-review is so important. I always said I'm a good person, but when I look at myself, I have a lot of hot temper, negative habit. And when I go to work, it's very hard for me to harmonize with people. So why do I need to self-review? Is because I want to learn how to improve, how to be a better person. I don't want to cause problem to people. I want people to like me. I want to be truly a good friend. And by doing that, I need to work on improving myself. I need to stop making sarcasm that cause people suffering. I need to stop blaming on other people, because whenever I do that at my workplace, it's so tense. It make everybody suffering, because they always have, whenever they see me, they don't like it. So that is my negative habit. So self-review is important, because I want to be a better person. I want the world to be a better place. So I first have to start with myself. What do you think about that?
That is a lot better response than I can ever come up with.
I thank you for that, but I still need to lower and humble myself. I have a lot to work on myself. I want to ask you this question. When you plan your day, how do you know if your day is meaningful or that your planning is effective? Because I saw your planner, and you plan from the day, the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, every 30-minute increment. So how do you know if your planning is meaningful? And how do you know your planning is effective?
Well, first off, just to let you know, you did most of the planning.
Okay. So basically, I assist him
Yes.
to be a better planner.
Yes. Rachel.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I guess you can see if you're planned or a schedule to see if it's saintly is or if
Maybe answer the first question so the audience won't be confused. Is how do you know if your planning is meaningful?
I guess you can see if your planning is meaningful by, well, if you have a plan. Well, sometimes people do have plans, but if you have a plan and you want to see if it's actually helpful, then you can do what me and my dad did. We put a W next to the things that are worldly, and then we put another letter next to things that are helpful and can assist us. For example, what we're doing right now, we are kind of like having a tea time. So we can see if that is worldly or saintly by seeing what we're doing right now.
Okay, let me interrupt you. You said that I love to interrupt because I recognize that's one of my issues. The reason I say that is so I can work on it by recognize it, so I can remind myself to stop. He said that Sky is saying that when he write down his planning throughout the day,
Can you help me?
he put next to each item the W for the worldly, the S for the saintly, and that because he wants his life to be more meaningful, so he want to implement more saintly thing. Just like how we sit here, we talking about work on hot temper negative issues and just how to spend quality time together. Okay, so the second part of the sentence, the question is, how do you know if your planning is effective?
Well, that is a really good question because you want to, because your planning, first of all, your planning needs to be effective, because if it's not really effective, then it just, just there. It's not like it's going to help you. So to see if your planning is effective is to, just look at your planning, first of all, because if you want, because you don't know if your planning is helpful or not if you just just think about it in your head, and if you just just look at it, you don't really know if it's effective. So I guess you just have to look deeply into your planning, or your whatever it is, even a schedule. You'll have to look, because if your schedule is like, okay, I'm going to eat lunch, after that I'm going to take a break, and 1 hour break, and after that I'm going to take a 15-minute nap, and then after that, if the schedule is not really effective, then you can, just see it. Because I'm not saying all plannings, but some plannings are not really helpful in the way that you need it.
So you said that to be able to be a good, effective planner is first what is important to do. That's the reason we plan. We plan because we want to accomplish something that is necessary, something that is important. If we don't have anything important, why plan it anyway, right? And the other part that you say is to have a better, effective planning is to look deeply. The planner is to help us how to plan our life more effectively and more meaningful. Don't plan anything like eat and sleep. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And you're able to see that in your planning, and you said that is not a good quality. So you're able to avoid those kind of negative habits. Is that right?
Yes.
So you said the effective planning is that you're able to put more effort and accomplish more meaningful thing in life, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. What do you have any question for Daddy?
Well, I guess that's all of my questions.
Okay, folks, thank you so much for your time. Me and my son, we are just having tea, and we share this very nice chocolate together.
Turtle.
And we use this as an opportunity to learn from each other. Yes, we always have this learning mentality because we want to improve, not because we want to show off or we want to create good content. I don't think this is a good content, but I just think that this is something meaningful that we can all learn together. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day like us. We enjoy this beautiful tea. Thank you. We'll see you in the next episode.
I like to call it a video.